Hello, and welcome back to History Amnesia. Today, we are peering deep into the past. We are asking one of humanity's biggest questions: what happens after we die? For answers, we look not to the stars but to the earth beneath our feet, specifically in what is now Texas and its neighboring states. Here, the Caddo people created a vibrant civilization. They left behind a rich legacy that speaks volumes about their lives, their beliefs, and their understanding of the cosmos. Their world was one of intricate societies and profound spiritual beliefs, all connected to the land they called home. Join us as we explore the fascinating and complex burial rituals of the Caddo. The Caddo people believed that death was not an end. Instead, it was the start of a long and difficult journey. The spirit of the departed had to travel to the house of the dead in the sky. This was their version of an afterlife, a world beyond our own. This journey was filled with challenges and required guidance. To help the spirit find its way, the living had a sacred duty. They had to perform specific rituals with great care and precision. These ceremonies were designed to prepare, protect, and provide for the soul on its celestial voyage. Their beliefs shaped every aspect of how they treated their dead, from the moment of passing to the final interment. This belief in a spirit world was the foundation of their entire funeral system. The journey to the sky was a concept that united Caddo communities. It provided comfort and a sense of order in the face of loss. The living community played a vital role in ensuring the soul's successful passage. They were not just mourning a loss, they were actively participating in a cosmic event. Every action, every prayer, and every object placed with the deceased had a purpose. It was a beautiful and complex system that showed a deep respect for life, death, and the connections that bind us all across time and space. Imagine a world where the line between the living and the dead is thin. For the Caddo, this was their reality. The community's spiritual health depended on honoring these traditions. If a spirit failed to reach the house of the dead, it could linger and cause problems for the living. Therefore, the funeral rituals were more than just a way to say goodbye. They were a necessary act to maintain balance between the physical world and the spiritual realm. This understanding helps us see why their burial practices were so elaborate and why they invested so much effort into them. It was a sacred responsibility for the entire community. The Caddo funeral was a carefully orchestrated event. It lasted for 6 long days. Each day was filled with specific activities and ceremonies. This was a time of deep community mourning and spiritual preparation. Family members would gather to weep and express their grief. But it was also a time of action. The body of the deceased was carefully prepared for its final resting place. This 6-day period allowed the community to process their loss. It also gave them time to gather all the necessary items for the burial. It was a communal process that reinforced social bonds and shared beliefs during a difficult time. During these 6 days, the community came together to support the grieving family. They would share food, tell stories about the person who had passed, and offer comfort. But the most important work was preparing the grave goods. These were not random objects. They were essential supplies for the spirit's journey. Beautifully crafted pottery was filled with food and water for the long road ahead. Personal items like jewelry made from shell or bone were included to provide comfort and identity. Each item was chosen with care, meant to equip the spirit for the challenges it would face on its way to the sky world. The types of grave goods often reflected the person's life and status. A great warrior might be buried with his finest bow and arrows. A skilled artisan might have their tools placed beside them. These items served a practical purpose in the afterlife, just as they had in the physical world. For the Caddo, the spirit world was a continuation of life, and one needed the right equipment. This practice shows us that they viewed the afterlife not as a place of rest, but as a new existence. It was a place where one would continue to need the tools, adornments, and sustenance of life. This 6-day ritual was a powerful expression of Caddo culture. It demonstrated their deep understanding of life and death. It showed that the community did not simply abandon their loved ones at death. Instead, they actively participated in their transition to the next world. The entire process, from the public mourning to the careful selection of grave goods, was a testament to their love and respect for the departed. It was a profoundly human response to the universal mystery of what lies beyond. The Caddo found their answer not in fear, but in careful, loving preparation for a journey. Not everyone was buried in the same way. A person's social standing in life determined their final resting place in death. Most ordinary Caddo people were buried in simple graves within the village, often in cemeteries or even beneath the floors of their own homes. This kept the family close, connecting the living and the dead in a shared space. These burials were respectful but modest. The grave goods were usually personal items and some pottery. This practice reflects a close-knit community where ancestors were a constant presence in daily life, their spirits watching over the family from just below the earthen floor. In stark contrast, elite leaders and their families received a much grander farewell. They were not buried in simple village graves. Instead, they were interred in or beneath large earthen mounds. These mounds were sacred structures built by the community over many generations. They were like human-made hills, rising above the flat landscape. A burial in a mound was the highest honor. It signified that the person was a powerful political or religious leader. These mounds served as permanent monuments, visible reminders of the leader's authority and their special connection to the spiritual world. They were the eternal homes for the most important members of society. The burials of these elites were often complex affairs. Sometimes a leader was placed in a tomb-like chamber built at the base of a mound. Then, layers of earth were carefully added on top. This is known as a primary interment, the initial burial of the body. These tombs could be quite elaborate, containing a wealth of grave goods. Fine pottery, exotic materials like copper, and intricate shell ornaments were common. In some cases, family members or even retainers were buried with the leader, meant to accompany and serve them in the afterlife. This demonstrates the immense power these leaders held. Caddo practices also included something called secondary interments. This was a different kind of burial. It involved moving the bones of the deceased from a temporary grave to a final resting place, often within a mound. This might happen long after death, once the flesh had decomposed. The bones would be gathered, bundled together, and then placed in the sacred mound. This practice might have been used for people of high status who died away from home or as part of larger community rituals to honor the ancestors. It shows the Caddo's long-term commitment to caring for their dead, ensuring they all reach their final, honored resting place. The Caddo world was not static. Their culture and their burial practices changed over hundreds of years. What was common in one period might be different in another. Furthermore, the Caddo were not a single unified group. They were a collection of many distinct communities, each with its own local variations on these traditions. Archaeologists see these differences in the styles of pottery and the construction of mounds across the Caddo homeland. This diversity is a reminder that we are looking at a living, breathing culture that evolved over time, not a single, unchanging set of rules. Their legacy is complex and multifaceted. These mounds and the artifacts within them are more than just historical objects. They are a direct link to the Caddo people and their view of the universe. The mounds were centers of community life. They were places for ceremonies, political gatherings, and most importantly, for honoring the dead. Building a mound was a massive undertaking, requiring the labor of many people over a long time. This act of construction was itself a ritual. It brought the community together and reinforced their shared identity and beliefs. The mounds are a physical manifestation of their social and spiritual world, a legacy written in the earth itself. Today, the Caddo Nation is a vibrant, modern community, and they are the stewards of this incredible history. The ancient mounds and burial sites are sacred to them. They are the resting places of their ancestors. They work closely with archaeologists and historians to protect these sites and to share their story with the world. By studying these places with respect, we can learn so much about human history. We can see how one culture grappled with the same questions we ask today. What is our place in the cosmos? And what comes next? The Caddo provided their own profound answers. We have journeyed into the past to uncover the secrets of the Caddo. We have seen how their beliefs about the afterlife shaped their lives and their landscapes. From the six-day farewell to the magnificent earthen mounds, their traditions reveal a deep respect for the cycle of life and death. The story of the Caddo is a powerful reminder that history is all around us, waiting to be discovered. Thank you for joining us on History Amnesia. If you found this journey as fascinating as we did, please give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into our shared past.